Hewlett-Packard sold printers for decades at a loss. Here's where the actual profit came from. In 1939, two Stanford students, William Hewlett and David Packard, built their first oscillator in a garage in Palo Alto. Cost them about $538 in parts. They sold it to Disney for use in animating Snow White. But here's the trick, that garage wasn't the origin story. It was the mythology. The real story is what happened when they realized they had no idea how to scale. By the 1950s, HP had moved into a real facility and begun manufacturing test and measurement equipment. Oscillators, frequency counters, signal generators, precision instruments for engineers, high margin, small volume. They were profitable but constrained. There were only so many engineers in the world who needed their gear. Then came the 1960s. Computers started appearing in offices, not just universities, and those computers needed peripherals. HP began building printers, mechanical devices that could translate digital signals into ink on paper. This was the inflection point, though nobody knew it yet. Here's where the financial engineering begins. HP printers were good but not dominant. Xerox was crushing it in copiers. IBM dominated computers. HP was the third-place player in printing, so management made a deliberate choice: price the hardware cheap. By the 1980s, HP was selling printers at razor-thin margins, sometimes below cost. The printer was the loss leader. But here's the trick: the ink cartridge was where the math actually worked. A cartridge cost HP maybe $2 to manufacture. They sold it for $25 to $40. Margin on the printer itself, maybe 5%. Margin on the ink, 800 to 500%. And once a customer bought the printer, they were locked in. You couldn't easily use a competitor's cartridge. HP made sure of that with proprietary designs and digital locks. This model, loss leader hardware, recurring revenue from consumables, wasn't invented by HP. It existed in razors and blades decades earlier. But HP perfected it at scale. They understood something most competitors didn't. The printer wasn't the product. The customer's dependency on cartridges was. By the 1990s, personal computers exploded. Every office, every home office, every small business wanted a printer. HP flooded the market with cheap hardware. Canon, Brother, Lexmark competed on price. HP undercut them all because HP had already written the profit equation differently. Market share followed. By 2000, HP controlled roughly 50% of the global printer market. But here's what the balance sheet actually showed. Printer division revenue was massive. Printer division profit was modest. Ink revenue was smaller. Ink profit was astronomical. The cash flow was so reliable that it became the foundation of HP's entire corporate strategy. They used printer profits to fund acquisitions. Compaq in 2002, EDS in 2008. Each was financed partly by the steady cash machine humming in the printer division. But the model had a built-in vulnerability. It depended on customers actually printing. As digital workflows emerged, email, cloud storage, PDF, the volume of printed pages began to decline around 2010. Printers sat idle. Cartridges lasted longer. The recurring revenue stream slowed. Customers also started refilling cartridges with third-party ink or buying compatible alternatives. HP fought back with firmware updates that rejected non-HP cartridges. This worked for a while, but it also built resentment. The lock-in mechanism became visible. By 2015, HP's printer division was under pressure. Revenue was flat. Margins were compressing. The company had to innovate not the printer itself but the business model. They introduced subscription services, pay monthly, get ink delivered. The lock-in went from cartridge to contract. This wasn't desperation, it was adaptation. HP realized the printer market was mature and declining, so they shifted the revenue model from one-time consumable sales to predictable monthly recurring revenue. The printer became the door. The subscription was the actual business. Here's the financial sleight of hand. On paper, printer revenue stayed large. In reality, the profit came from somewhere else entirely. First it was ink. Then it was ink subscriptions. Then it was data. HP started tracking which customers printed what, when, and why. That data became valuable. HP could predict which customers were likely to churn. They could offer targeted deals. They could bundle services. The printer wasn't a product anymore. It was a data collection device wearing plastic. So how did Hewlett-Packard transition from a two-person garage operation to a $50 billion enterprise? They didn't do it by selling printers. They did it by understanding that the printer was the mechanism, not the money. The money was in the dependency they created around it. This pattern, loss leader hardware, recurring revenue from locked-in customers, became the template for tech, smartphones at thin margins, app store profits. Gaming consoles sold at a loss, game sales at full margin. HP didn't invent the model, but they industrialized it. They proved it could scale to billions in revenue. And they proved it could last for decades. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research. If you want to understand how the world's most durable companies actually make their money, subscribe. We decode one business model every week. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research.